What's good, y'all? Finally back with another video. I've been slacking on this one. I've had this video planned for like a week. I beat Metroid Dread probably last weekend, I want to say. Yeah, not the weekend that just passed, but the weekend before that, right? So I've been sitting on this. I had these notes written down for a while and I just haven't recorded. I'm gonna try to become more consistent. I know nobody really is watching these yet, but I need to get my consistency up for sure. So yeah, wanted to come here with a Metroid Dread review, as you see in the title. Actually, so let me explain how this happened, right? I was playing Super Metroid, and I took a long break from it once I got to Meridia. Was doing really good. I was actually playing alongside a playthrough because the game was somewhat confusing on like where to go a little bit. And I wanted to try and get as much as I could. So I was watching a playthrough. Y'all may have seen it. It's a great playthrough of that game. So I was watching that one. And got to Meridia and just couldn't really figure out where to go next. What I was even supposed to be doing. So it was kind of on hiatus for a while. Came back the week before Dread came out. Finished it. Somehow just found my way through it. Boom, beat the game. So, got Super Metroid out the way. Haven't played Fusion. Super Metroid is the only 2D Metroid I've played. But there's also really no access to Fusion, so So, got Metroid Dread because I was hyped for that. Past E3, I've been saying, man, I would love another 2D Metroid. My far off wish for that E3, I was like, man, I want to see Breath of the Wild 2. And it would be crazy if we got to see another 2D Metroid. But I didn't think we would. I was like, that's just a dream world. And then it happened. So I was hyped. So got this game, not as soon as it came out, but as close as I could. Beat it in a day. Beat it within 24 hours. I went to sleep on it, but came back and the next morning I beat it. So yeah, that's how much I was playing this shit. Anyway, let's get into, I want to do pros and then cons, I think. Because that's kind of how I have my notes written. So I'm going to just do it like that. They're kind of all over the place, but I'll try to make it flow a little bit. So just to start, the graphics in Dread, beautiful. They're not like no Red Dead 2, not even Breath of the Wild. Like, you know what I'm saying? These aren't the greatest graphics you've ever seen in your life. But they actually do look really nice for the Switch. And just for the art style of the game. I also found the backgrounds to be very beautiful, especially in like Gavarin. Some of the Cataris backgrounds, like with the flame. That wasn't really in Cataris, but it was connecting to Cataris, right? Ferenia was really cool. I actually found my favorite location was Berenia. The underwater Camino lab, you know what I'm saying? Looked like Camino from Star Wars and shit. I liked Hanubia as well because it also kind of resembled that. So those two were probably my favorite locations visually. And to go off of that as well, Berenia, I think, actually getting into the soundtrack, I think the soundtrack is okay. And that bleeds into the cons. It's not bad, but it ain't no Super Metroid soundtrack. It didn't really stand out in my brain other than Berenia. I liked Berenia. Everything else was kind of okay to me. Not very memorable. I also did like that Brenstar remix that they played during the cutscene. That song is so hard. I'm sorry. That shit was crazy. So I like that as well. What else we got in here? I liked that the items were received in a different order. That was pretty cool. Kind of threw me off that you didn't get the morph ball until what felt like I was like halfway. I'm like, damn, we ain't never gonna get the morph ball. So I like that we were getting items in a different order and a different context. It spiced up the puzzles and the order in which you could complete stuff. Because I'm like, man, all these little tunnels, I can't go down yet because I don't have the morph ball. So I enjoyed that. Also, you get her suits very late in the game. But to get into that, I loved her suit design in this game. Samus's 3 suits that you get, the basic power armor, whatever it's called, I don't know, the various suit, and then the gravity suit. Great designs. Especially, I would actually say especially the gravity suit. The ribbed, it just looks cool, bruh. And the bulkier shoulders, I always like the bulkier shoulders on Samus, so really liked her suit designs. Found the story interesting. I enjoyed the plot. I kind of know the plot of Fusion. They also explained it at the beginning, but I'm also on the internet, so I kind of was looking, you know what I mean, to see, okay, let me figure out what this game's about. Plus, I was interested in Super Metroid, so even before Dread, I knew what the plot of Fusion was. Fast and responsive gameplay. The gameplay of Dread is so smooth. It is the smoothest Metroidvania game I've played. Haven't played many. I want to say the only ones I've played are Super Metroid, Hollow Knight, which I still have not beaten yet, but I love Hollow Knight. I'm very lost at the the place that I'm at right now. Dread. I think I've played some other ones. I played a bit of Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night. And that might be it. So I'm not super well versed in Metroidvania, but I really like that genre. I really do like what that genre can give when it's at its best. So this game is that genre at its best. So I really liked how fast and smooth Samus felt to play, as everything just felt like it flowed. I wish you could aim with the right stick. It would be a little weird shooting like that, but I do wish you could move and aim with the right stick. I think that would be the only thing I would tweak. You can keep the stationary aiming as well, but I would have also preferred being able to aim while running, so I'm not just aiming with the run stick. That makes it a bit weird sometimes. Building off that, the combat and the puzzles are great. Really fun combat, really fast-paced, challenging enemies. I died a lot in this game. Puzzles, I'm on my hard playthrough, trying to 100% it, so I haven't beaten it yet. I'm on one of the puzzles where you gotta shine spark through some tunnels. I literally just watched a video, and they showed me how to do it, so I'm gonna go do that soon, hopefully. Because I could not figure that out for the life of me. I couldn't figure that out. Grapple points was all, I'm like, I don't know how I'm even supposed to speed boost through that. But I know how to now. So I think the combat and the puzzles are really great in this game. Great world design, as I was saying. Even if I didn't. One of the best Metroidvania worlds I think I've played, for sure. I don't know if it is my favorite. I'd have to juggle that between like this and probably Hollow Knight. I really do like Hollow Knight's world. I really like Hollow Knight's world and its layout. But this one is very intricate and complex, so I enjoy that as well. Very intricate world layout. Probably the most intricate I've played, honestly. Great blend of the story and characters, or story and gameplay, my fault. They didn't overdo the story and make the game overly linear, and they didn't just do purely gameplay and skimp on the story. You get just enough story, and you get more than enough gameplay. You get tons of great gameplay. So I enjoyed that as well, that the story kept me interested, and it added. Oh, I would throw Dark Souls and Bloodborne and all that kind of in the Metroidvania as well, but it blended that really well to keep me interested in progressing the story. But me, with Metroidvanias, I'm just interested in Metroidvania gameplay. I just love that style of new ability. Now I can go to new places. Oh, if y'all see a new background, I ain't even saying it. If y'all see, my background's going to be changing for a while because we moved. So we're in a new house now. finally. So you'll probably see this room upgrade over time. New things will be added. I'm actually going to add something new probably tonight. I think it just came in just now. So off topic. Anyway, this video is getting long. Back into the gameplay because I'm kind of all over the place. The boss battles. Getting back to the challenge. The boss battles are hard. I think I died on every single one. Multiple times. The bosses are challenging. They are challenging, but I enjoyed it because I like Dark Souls. I like a challenge in my games, and I oftentimes like to play games on, if not the hardest, the near to hardest difficulty, because sometimes the hardest difficulty is just kind of unfair. So I like to play when they're with a challenge, though. I don't like to just breeze through games. So I thoroughly enjoyed the challenge in this game because Super Metroid, not really a challenge. I did die on Kraid a lot because I like just terrible coordination. And I may have died on Ridley once in Super Metroid. And Dragon I died on like once or twice because I couldn't figure it out at first. I didn't know exactly what his weak point was. But Super Metroid, for the most part, is a very easy game. You won't really be dying that much. You have over amounts of health. But this game, enemies hit like trucks. You start to feel like, oh, I'm getting more energy tanks. I'm cool. I can relax. And then you get to a boss or a challenging enemy like those Chozo soldiers or whatever you want to call them. The ones that shoot and then have the red slashes. You get hit once and you lose like a whole tank. I'm like, damn. What was the point of getting me more tanks? So yeah, and the final boss. Moving even forward into that. The final boss in this game, amazing. Challenging, difficult. Took me a while to beat him. Probably longer than any of the other bosses. Definitely a challenge. Multiple phases. Each, you die on any phase, you do the whole thing over again. So that was definitely a challenge. I enjoyed that. I want to say I covered everything on my pros list now. Yeah. So overall, I really enjoyed this game. My cons list is pretty short, but let's get into the cons. Soundtrack. I said it was decent in the pros, but that's also a con. The soundtrack is very unmemorable. Whatever the word is. I be blanking on words sometimes. It's not a very memorable soundtrack. A lot of the songs will just kind of sound like background ambience, which Super Metroid does have some of that, but then you got Brinstar. Like, you got Norfair. The songs in Super Metroid will be in your brain. This game, not so much. I did really enjoy the Berenius theme and the Brinstar remix, but that's not original to this game. So, well, it's original, but that song is not original. I did say the backgrounds and the design was great, but some of the science lab / factory designs kind of blend together in your brain. It can be hard to tell where you're at sometimes, especially within the Emmy zones. Totally forgot about the Emmy. I love the Emmy. Really enjoyed the Emmy. Challenging. I like that the counter to fend them off was so like off key with its timing. It was hard to. I never mastered it. I would occasionally get out, but for the most part, I would just let myself die because I was like, I'm probably not going to be able to hit the timing. Because most games that would have a mechanic like that, I'll figure out the timing and I'll literally just do that every time and it'll lose all fear, all challenge. Emmy never happened. It was such a small window and weird on its timing that the whole time the Emmy were a threat. So I did enjoy that. Kind of weird how the last Emmy just got taken out. Plot. That was a bit of a spoiler, but not really a huge problem, though. Back to this, though. Some of the backgrounds, especially in those Emmy locations, do kind of blend together. it can be hard to tell where you're at sometimes. So I'm constantly checking the map, which you should be doing, but you know, it can ruin the flow of gameplay sometimes when I'm like, enter a new room, check the map. Okay, I need to go over here. Enter the new room, check the map. Okay, I need to just to keep myself on track because it's so intricate yet looks samey in some locations. But where it looks different, I really enjoy that. I think the cave systems and the more natural environments always looked better in that game. Whenever you're entering like technology, it started to blend a little bit. Building on that even more, different areas have bleed over. So you might be in, what is it, Artaria, and end up in a lava location, which if you're in there too long, you might start to think you're in Cataris. You know what I mean? So it can be hard to tell which zone you're in sometimes because some of the zones bleed into other zones and there's spillover. But I do like, back to the pros, I'm all over the place. Returning to old locations, some of them do change over the course of the game. So when you're going back, you're not just going back to the same place. It looks different. It's laid out a little bit differently. Different things are blocked off. New ways are opened. I enjoy that. But the bleed over can make it a bit confusing, but I didn't mind it too much. And my last con, which I don't think is too much of a con, but it's something I gotta point out. It's not great for new players. If you've never played a Metroidvania, you're not really... You might struggle with this because it doesn't really hold your hand. You just got to go into it knowing shoot every corner. Shoot a missile at every ceiling and a floor. Once you get the scan. If you don't want to do that, just scan every room you get into. Because it doesn't really hold your hand. But it does have nice clues in place. For example, the flashing on the map when there's a secret. Things like that. Enemies sometimes are placed on walls that are, you know, hidden paths. So you'll shoot the enemy and accidentally hit the wall, letting you know, oh, I can go up there or I can go over here. So it's not too bad, but it's definitely not really the best for a very new Metroidvania player. Because it doesn't really teach you all that much, honestly. So this has been my Metroid Dread review. Longer than I wanted it to be. But hope you guys enjoyed. I will be back more consistently with videos. I don't really have an idea for my next video yet, so if the next one is still a bit slow, give me some time. You feel me? But yeah, I'll check you guys in the next video. Peace, man.